Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project and Magnetic Reversal News, bringing you a magnetic excursion update Thursday, August 15th, around 8 p.m. Mountain Time 2024. You're looking at the most recent paroxysm at Etna, and it was spectacular. Not only that, it shut down the airport in Sicily. Plus, the latest from Ernesto. Keep calm. It's boom time. Hurricane Ernesto strengthens and moves towards Bermuda after lashing Puerto Rico. Let's take a look.
This morning, a power crisis across Puerto Rico in the aftermath of Ernesto. The powerful storm, which is now a hurricane, battering the island with winds up to 85 miles per hour, tearing roofs off of homes and leaving nearly 500,000 people in the dark. Luma Energy, the private company in charge of power distribution, pressed repeatedly for a timeline on restoration, but offering no estimate, only telling today.
I can't tell you how long it'll take to us. We do know in certain areas that the damage has been limited, so we should be able to move fast.
Ernesto brushing the island as a tropical storm Wednesday, but still dropping nearly a foot of rain. The downpours and flooded roads sweeping away cars and leading to rescues. The Comerio Dam overflowing as officials say at least 3 major rivers burst their banks, forcing some evacuations in the town of Tua Baja. The storm also barreled through the Virgin Islands, leaving thousands on the U.S. side in the dark.
We want to turn on the power, but we don't know where lines are down, so we can't just turn on the power willy-nilly. We got to make sure we don't electrify anybody.
This morning, Hurricane Ernesto is strengthening over the Atlantic, with Bermuda expected to begin feeling its effects as early as Friday, as officials warn those in its path.
This is not the time to underestimate the power of nature.
Remember what he said. This is not the time to dismiss Mother Nature as Hurricane Ernesto strengthens and moves towards Bermuda. Let's take a look at the latest update. 17A, maximum sustained winds at 90 miles per hour as it approaches Cat 2 territory and maybe Cat 3 by the time it reaches Bermuda. Let's take a look at the key message for Ernesto. Ernesto is expected to approach Bermuda late Friday and be near the island Saturday and Saturday night. A prolonged period of strong winds and storm surge is expected on Bermuda beginning late Friday, and a hurricane warning is in effect for the island. Preparations to protect life and property should be rushed to completion. Rainfall associated with Ernesto is expected to begin to affect Bermuda this evening and may result in flash flooding Friday through the weekend. Even though Ernesto is forecast to remain well offshore the U.S. East Coast, swells generated by the storm are expected to reach the area during the next few days, including over the weekend. Beachgoers should be aware of significant risk of life-threatening surf and rip currents. Heed the warnings from your local authorities. And if you're in Bermuda, buckle up. Ernesto is headed your way. Here's the full forecast. Strong storms to affect Alaska, dangerous heat for the south, and severe weather and excessive rainfall for the Midwest. A series of storms will affect Alaska over the next few days with strong winds, heavy precipitation, and coastal impacts. For the Atlantic East Coast, risk of dangerous rip currents will increase late this week and weekend. Dangerous heat continues to expand for the southern plains and lower Mississippi Valley. Thunderstorms and heavy rainfall for the Midwest, Ohio Valley, Great Lakes into Friday. Let's take a look at the GFS model together. Here we can see the position of Hurricane Ernesto as it approaches Cat 4 territory. Let's get rid of these dumb things. And you can see some of the storms in the northern plains there. Not much in the way of severe weather for the U.S. all the way through the weekend. Just a minor effect, as you can see. Bermuda here, this little black dot, and the path of Ernesto, it's going to take it right up and over Bermuda as a Cat 2, maybe Cat 3 storm. So we'll see how this unravels as we move on through August. Researchers pumped extra CO2 into a forest and biodiversity thrived. Yeah, can you imagine that? The Birmingham Institute of Forest Research conducted a study on a 180-year-old oak forest, revealing that elevated CO2 levels, 140 ppm above ambient, resulted in a 9.8% increase in woody biomass over 7 years. Good news, because CO2 is continuing to rise, as it has done every year, the same amount, because the rise in CO2 has nothing to do with you. Humans create less than 4% of all the CO2 in the atmosphere. Seismic update. The biggest rumbler, a big shocker in Hualien City, Taiwan, offshore 6.1. No reports yet of any damage coming in. Oh, other than that, normal activity worldwide. As we take a quick turn over to worldwide volcano news. The National Institute of Geophysics and Volcanology in Catania reported that the 6th paroxysm episode from Etna's Voragine crater is now over, and spectacular it was. Popo today puffing to 20,000, Sangay to 22, Raventador 14,000 foot puff. Etna activity has decreased. Swanosima to 6,000 feet. Here is a picture taken from the east side of Etna during the height of the paroxysm, the night of the 14th into the 15th. Absolutely beautiful. We did show you video last night. Fuego to 15, Popo to 20,000. White Island, an eruption with continuous low-level ash. Semeru to 15, Sabancaya to 23,000, Swanosima to 7, Etna puffing and passing. Fuego to 15, Liwatobi to 10,000, Semeru to 15,000, Sangay to 20,000, Ibu to 8,000. Etna, it's over. White Island continues low-level eruption with clouds obscuring the potential. Sabancaya to 24,000, and wrapping up the list, Swanosima, 6,000 foot puff. A quick look at space weather for August 15th. The last 24 hours has been a dud. No activity whatsoever. Low-level sea flares, as we do have some large sunspots facing Earth, but doing nothing. The good news is that we may have some space weather headed our way. The X1.1 Earth-facing solar flare that blasted off the 14th into the 15th here is headed our way. The 18th, according to the WSA Enlil solar wind prediction. But NASA's calling an arrival on the 17th. If it arrives early, we'll definitely get a geomagnetic storm. Late arrival means weak plasma and slow speed and may not do a thing. Ding, ding. Look up if you haven't. Go outside and look up at the sky. It's beautiful. And on the 19th, a blue supermoon will light up the sky. The next full moon is a supermoon and a super blue moon, supermoon, boom. The sturgeon moon, the red corn moon, the green corn moon, the barley moon, the herb moon, the grain moon, the dog moon, the Rasha Bandhan moon, or the Rakhi Purnima moon. Lots of names for the August 2024 blue moon, boom. It will feature a rare celestial event, a super blue moon. This full moon will be the first of 4 consecutive supermoons, offering the largest and brightest views of the moon of the year. Despite its name, the blue moon won't appear blue, but it's so called because it's the 3rd full moon in a season with 4 full moons. This lunar phase aligns with the Hindu festival Raksha Bandhan and coincides with several cultural events across different lunar calendars. So remember, get out and look up. A rare archaeological site reveals surprising Neanderthal behavior at the Pyrenees foothills. This site shows a continuous occupation from 100,000 to 65,000 years ago during a period called MIS 4. And it shows that Neanderthals are just as ingenious and resilient as Homo sapiens, you and I. They're able to adapt rapidly to changing climate and conditions, and they were eating a wide dearth of products and all types of animals. So they must have been trapping and fishing. Absolutely spectacular evidence coming from the Pyrenees foothills. A new study coming out. Greenland has been ice-free for extended periods of time, according to a new study. The recent findings show Greenland's ice-covered center with thousands of feet of ice once supported a lush tundra ecosystem. What does this historical shift mean for the current climate change and rising sea levels? Well, it means that they're full of it. It's not the hottest day, nothing. Greenland at one point was tundra in the last million years, meaning there was no ice on it. In fact, the Vikings were there and they flourished. Here is the article: plant, insect, and fungi fossils under the center of Greenland's ice sheet are evidence of ice-free times recently. So it's not the hottest year ever. It's just a bunch of nonsense. And there's evidence all over in the Arctic. The melting Mendenhall Glacier revealed a forest that is 1,000 years old underneath. That means that 1,000 years ago, there was no glacier and there was a forest. How stupid do they think we are? And now, overwhelming proof that vitamin D3 deficiency causes most human diseases, including the woo-woo. And they told you to stay inside to be safe. I wonder if the doctors on Earth really care about you. I refuse to go to a doctor, haven't been there in over a decade. Don't go to the hospital. Don't take any pharmaceutical poisons, and never will. You can eat your medicine. It's called growing your own food without any pesticides or poisons. The Alliance of Native Seed Keepers has the cheapest seeds on Earth in its fall planting season. How about some Velvet Queen sunflower or chocolate cherry? Maybe mixed jewel nasturtiums. You can get herbs and vegetables at the lowest price on the internet, $2 per pack, open pollinated heirloom seeds, non-GMO, none of that crap. Plus, there's no pesticides if you grow it yourself. And while you're planting these seeds, you'll be getting the sunlight you need to convert the necessary vitamin D3 to keep you healthy, wealthy, and wise. And that's a boom to knowledge. Please share the video. We are Shadow Band. We need your help to grow. Become a Patreon. Support the work we do. Watch all of our podcasts one place, commercial free. I'm about to interview the Crestone Energy Fair team, and that'll be up tonight or tomorrow. So make sure you watch that. And make sure to enter coupon code ORP2024 for an additional 10% off. If you buy more than $25 worth of seeds, shipping is free.